Hi everyone, welcome to Team 5's What's News project. The articles we chose were from the Financial Times and the Wall Street Journal. Our first one is China unleashes stimulus blitz to lift growth, and China tries to jolt ailing economy. Our first article discusses the recent moves by the People's Bank of China to stimulate its economy. Amid slow growth, China has unveiled a series of measures, including a cut to its benchmark interest rate and additional support for property and stock markets. China's economic recovery or continued stagnation affects global supply chains, commodity prices, and international investment flows. This article helps illustrate how China's domestic policies reverberate across international markets, influencing currencies, stocks, and bond markets. Our second article discusses the Chinese government's efforts to revitalize its slowing economy. With declining growth, increased unemployment, and a struggling property market, China is implementing a series of stimulus measures. These include interest rate cuts, tax relief, and infrastructure spending to spur growth. The article discusses up-to-date efforts by the Chinese government to address the economic issues in 2024, making it a timely case study. Understanding how China's policies affect global trade, commodity prices, and stock market adds relevance to the context of international financial markets.
The main points for the first article: China unleashes stimulus blitz to lift growth. China implements stimulus measures including interest rate cuts. PBOC announces government fundings for stock markets, share buybacks, and property sectors. Speculation about China's achieving government's 5% growth targets. Chinese stock markets rail and commodity prices include iron ore and copper rose. PBOC actions lower the 7-day reverse repo rate and reduce mortgage down payments for second homes. Analysts suggested additional fiscal measures is needed. Articles highlight deflationary pressure and challenges in the domestic economy, include a significant inventory of unsold houses. Plan is to recapitalize major commercial banks to support the economy. The main points of China tries to jolt aligned economy. The PBOC has taken steps to help the economy, such as reducing interest rates and lowering bank reserve requirements. Following the announcement, China's CSI 300 index went up by 4.33%. And Hong Kong's Hang Seng increased by 4.13%, even though the CSI 300 is still down for the year. Economy slowing, weak consumer confidence, real estate crisis, job and spending worries. China's real estate sector needs government's intervention to restore market confidence. Economics urged more fiscal action as local governments struggle with infrastructure and weakening tax revenue. The recent U.S. Federal Reserve interest rates cut has eased pressures on China's currency, giving the PBOC more room to support the economy. Despite lowering borrowing costs, there is little demand for loans due to low consumer confidence and real estate market concerns. The People's Bank of China governor anticipate implementing additional ease measures by the end of the year. The author's message of both articles. The first article, in this article, the author's message was that China is implementing significant stimulus measures to combat an economic slowdown and to support growth. The second article, the author's message is that the China Central Bank has implemented significant measures to support the country's struggling economy and stock market, reflecting growing concerns in Beijing about the economic performance. The core information of both articles. For the first article, the People's Bank of China is acting by reducing interest rates and reserve requirement ratio to boost liquidity. However, concerns remain about the effectiveness of these measures due to weak loan demands and challenges in the property market. Economists doubt that the government's ability to reach its 5% growth targets and suggest the need for more direct fiscal stimulus to improve the economy outlook. For the second article, the People's Bank of China has taken steps to support the economy by reducing interest rates and lowering bank reserve requirements. However, many economists have doubt about their effectiveness due to low consumer confidence, a real estate crisis, and reluctance to borrow. Experts suggest stronger fiscal measures and housing strategies are needed to boost the economy and consumer spending.
How do these articles connect to our course material? The topic of China's recent economic stimulus is closely linked to what we've learned in our course, particularly in chapters 10 and 11, which focus on monetary policy and economic management. These chapters explain how central banks, such as the People's Banks of China, utilize various tools like changing interest rates and also like adjusting lending practices to foster economic growth and maintain stability. By understanding these concepts, we can see how China's economic actions fit into the broader framework of monetary policy. The stimulus measures implemented by China illustrate the application of monetary policy concepts we have studied, specifically in addressing economic challenges like lower consumer spending and a struggling property market. For instance, by reducing interest rates, the PBOC aims to make borrowing more affordable for individuals and businesses. This, in turn, encourages increased spending and investment, aligning with our course readings on stimulating economic activity. Additionally, China is investing in the stock market and supporting various industries, which reflects a strategy known as quantitative easing, where the central bank purchases financial assets to enhance liquidity in the economy. Another way that these articles connect to our course readings is that in chapters 10 and 11, they also emphasize the significance of central banks responding swiftly when the economy faces difficulties. China's rapid implementation of stimulus measures demonstrates a proactive strategy in tackling economic issues. Quick action can stabilize the economy and yield positive effects on the global market, especially considering China's substantial role in international trade. This proactive approach underlines the necessity for timely interventions in monetary policy, as discussed in our course. While stimulus measures can effectively boost economic performance, they also carry potential risk. Risks such as inflation or asset price bubbles, if not managed properly. Our course encourages us to critically analyze possible downsides of aggressive monetary policies and to think about how to balance immediate benefits with long-term economic health. By examining how the PBOC and the Chinese government employ various monetary policy tools, we deepen our understanding of these strategies in practice and appreciate their broader implications for global economic stability. Understanding China's monetary policy also helps us recognize the interconnectedness of today's global economies.
Here are a couple key points on how these articles complement each other. Both articles emphasize China's bold stimulus policies to support its faltering economy, such as lowering interest rates, reducing reserve requirements, and providing support to the stock market. While Article 2 elaborates on low consumer confidence, partially caused by the real estate crisis and employment instability, both of which point to the necessity of actions to build household spending. Article 1 highlights the significance of restoring consumer attitude. According to both articles, China's economic slowdown puts the country at risk of falling short of the government's 5% growth objective, and further action may be necessary to achieve the target in the light of already stated steps. Economists argue in both articles that structural changes, especially in the real estate industry, are necessary for long-term recovery, expressing doubt about the success of monetary policy alone. Both articles have different viewpoints on the same topics. For monetary policy, Article 1 emphasizes lowering reserve ratios, cutting interest rates, and supporting the stock market as the main strategies for increasing growth. In contrast, Article 2 believes that the PBOC's efforts are reactive and emphasizes that monetary policy is not a panacea for fundamental problems like weak consumer confidence in the real estate market. For real estate concerns, Article 1 brings attention to the real estate industry as a significant economic drag and calls for more action to reduce unsold inventory. In contrast, Article 2 states that the real estate crisis is the main problem. It demands aggressive measures to finish incomplete projects and stabilize the overall market. For global efforts, Article 1 states that China's PBOC has greater flexibility to reduce economic pressures as a result of rate reduction by the U.S. Federal Reserve. In contrast, Article 2 mentions the Fed's rate reductions, but emphasizes how urgent China's internal economic issues are. What do we learn from reading both articles? Reading both articles makes clear points of China's dismal economic growth, but it also makes clear of other important issues, including inflation, weak lending demand, in addition to the real estate crisis. While Article 1 emphasizes the market's good reaction to rate reduction and liquidity infusions, Article 2 adds a crucial element of demonstrating that deeper structural problems, such as poverty downturn and consumer fear, cannot be solved by monetary easing on its own. Article 2 offers details on how household wealth can be depleted and highlights the need of the real estate recovery for increasing consumption and economic growth, while Article 1 only briefly mentions the poor consumer sentiment linked to the real estate market. Other topics include fiscal support, federal interest rates, and positive market responses.
To conclude our What's News presentation, I'd like to bring us back to our key takeaways derived from our presentation. We've looked at two recent articles that focus on China's efforts to boost its slowing economy. Both articles show that the Chinese government is trying different approaches, such as cutting interest rates and supporting the stock market in order to encourage growth. However, there's still a lot of uncertainty about whether these strategies will be enough in the long run, especially with the country's ongoing real estate challenges. While the initial reaction from the markets was positive, seeing rise in stocks and commodity prices, the bigger question is whether these measures will have lasting effects. Both articles point out that China's real estate sector is still a huge problem. The stimulus packages don't seem to directly solve this issue, and it's a key factor dragging down consumer confidence. We might expect further action from China, possibly more government spending, if the current measures don't lead to stronger growth. Both articles suggest that without these additional steps, it will be hard for China to meet its economic goals for the year.